serves on the House Judiciary Committee. So Congressman, only allowed to discuss.
Turn it down.
I'm watching the news.
The survivors and material that would actually.
Bro, I hate this. No one is doing anything, bro.
Why are you so mad? Chill.
Because I'm so stressed. No one is doing anything, and I'm the only one doing the work right now. One is playing Roblox, one is sleeping, and only I am the one only doing the poster and everything else. How? I'm so stressed. What can I do? Huh? I'm so stressed. They're not doing anything. I'm the only one doing it. However, what I've learned from the topic right just now is that the decline in interest in education among youngsters have learned that many young people are becoming less motivated to pursue education due to a combination of social, economic and personal factors. These include academic pressure, lack of engagement in traditional teaching methods, including of social media, and the perception of education does not always guarantee stable employment. Family background, peer influence, and militant support system also play a role in shaping students toward learning. Overall, this topic highlights the need for education system to adapt the changed interests and need for youngsters to order and make learning more relevant, engaging, and meaningful. I've seen this article online before. The examples are the media reports regarding the decline of interest in education among youngsters include news articles and reports that highlight students' lack of motivation towards learning. Media outlets have reported that many young people prefer entertain the workforce early rather than continuing their studies due to financial pressure and the belief that education does not guarantee employment. Another report discussed the influence of social media and digital entertainment, which distract students from academic activities and reduce interest in reading and studying. Additionally, some media reports highly decline enrollment in higher education institutions and poor academic performance as signs of decreasing engagement in education of youngsters like them.
I do want to do this project. The topic is important. I'm just tired. I wish Nathan would understand. This issue is of interest to me because education plays very important role in sharing young people's future. As a student, I have personally seen many classmates lose interest in studying due to stress, pressure, and lack of motivation. Some students feel that education is only about exams and grades, not personal growth or real-life skills. This made me realize how serious this problem is. I believe that understanding this issue is important so that schools and authorities can improve the education system and make learning more engaging and supportive for students. This has been an issue for many years, but has become more serious in recent times. With the rapid growth of technology and social media, many young people are easily distracted and lose interest in traditional learning. At the same time, increasing academic pressure has made education feel more stressful than enjoyable. Because of these changes, this long-run issue has become more visible in today's society.
I didn't mean to play Roblox. I was just kind of bored, it's really bored.
I was doing work and you told me to join you in Roblox in Dress to Impress? Are you crazy?
They have a Valentine's update. Okay, anyway. What are the factors that cause this issue? Well, okay, I think firstly, irrelevant curriculum. Some children, they could be forced to learn science in school, but they don't want to do medicine when they're older. So what's the point of doing science anyway? That's probably what they're thinking, which means they'll probably go to class and not want to learn anyway. Second would be probably teaching methods. Some teaching methods don't work on children, like all children. Maybe some children prefer a quiet, silent, dark environment, whereas other children might prefer lively, colorful, loud environments. So it's really up to the teacher, the kind of methods that they use. Third would be digital economy. Because nowadays a lot of people, especially influencers, YouTubers, a lot of them didn't finish high school, so they don't finish high school, yet they're still able to make so much more money than those that do. So maybe some people nowadays may see that as some sort of inspiration, or they might see it as, oh, why do I even need to go to school if I can make money without doing so? Fourth would be stress or mental health. Mental health is a very important thing because if a child or if a student feels that they've got bad mental health, they're very stressed out, they may get too burned out and they won't be able to study anyway. So it's really hard for them if you think about it. Second to last, quality of the education system. If the education system is not good, not doing a good job in the sense that maybe the syllabus isn't correct, maybe it's too boring, too long, too short, students will definitely lose interest quickly and they just won't want to study. And lastly, environment or lack of support from home. For instance, if a student comes home with a very good mark on their exam and their parents or their family don't say anything about it, they may think, why am I even trying to do this in the first place if nobody cares? So once again, it's really to do with the environment they have at home and the way people react to the things they do. What is the main cause? Well, okay, I can kind of relate to this, I guess you could say. First would be personal factors, lack of motivation. As you could see just now, I was very unmotivated, demotivated because I was playing game. There's also low confidence and their mental health, as I said before. Second would be social environment factors, referring once again to what I said before. Peer pressure, lack of parental involvement, and bullying. Bullying is a big factor. Lastly, institutional factors, poor quality of education, teacher shortages, and the lack of engaging extracurricular opportunities. Without engaging extracurricular opportunities, a lot of students not only feel that they spend all their days studying, they also realize that's the only thing that they do every single day. And is that really something they want to do forever? For so many years, for such a long period of time?
Kind of my fault, but not really my fault in a way. Like, I did my part already, so that's why I was like online shopping. It's like fine, right? But yeah. I think one major weakness is the weak enforcement of compulsory education laws. Like, if you think about it, our school system kind of sucks. Like, although education is legally required, students who skip school or drop out are often not properly monitored. Parents rarely face consequences, which makes education seem optional rather than essential to many youngsters. Another major loophole is the overemphasis on examinations. The system focuses heavily on grades and academic results instead of actual learning. Students who struggle academically often feel pressured, labeled, or left behind. This causes stress and discouragement, leading many students to lose interest in education. The system also fails to properly address students' mental health. Education laws do not strongly require schools to provide enough counseling or emotional support. Many students experience anxiety, burnout, and pressure, but receive little help. As a result, education becomes associated with stress instead of personal development. Another weakness is the outdated curriculum. Education policies are slow to adapt to real-world changes. Many students feel that what they learn does not prepare them for future careers or real-life skills, making education feel irrelevant and boring. There is also inequality in access to quality education. Even though laws promote equal education, students in rural or underprivileged areas often lack proper facilities and resources. This unfairness reduces students' motivation and trust in the system. In conclusion, weaknesses such as poor enforcement of education laws, exam pressure, lack of mental health, support, outdated curriculum, and inequality have contributed to the declining interest in education among youngsters. This is a really good and sensitive question. And the honest answer is yes, educators can be part of the problem, but they are not the only cause. Educators play an important role in shaping students' attitudes toward learning, In many classrooms, teaching is still heavily exam focused and based on memorization. For today's students, this approach often feels boring and disconnected from real life. When lessons feel irrelevant, students naturally lose motivation. Another factor is the lack of emotional connection. Due to the pressure to complete the syllabus, some educators may overlook students' individual needs when students feel unheard or unsupported. They become disengaged from education. There is also strong pressure to achieve good grades. This causes students to focus more on passing exams than on understanding or enjoying what they learn, which can lead to stress and burnout. However, it is important to acknowledge that educators face challenges such as heavy workloads, limited resources, and strict education systems. These factors limit how much they can adapt their teaching. In conclusion, educators are not the only reason for the decline in interest in education, but they have the ability to make a difference by creating more engaging, supportive, and meaningful learning experience.
I was watching the news because did you see the Epstein files? Yeah. I really think that the authorities should do something. Like, improve the system, improve everything, improve the education system. So I think when we talk about improving young people's interest in education, the authorities actually play a really, really big role, especially through policy, law, and funding. Firstly, the Ministry of Education can update the school curriculum to make learning more relevant and practical. This includes reducing excessive exam pressure and introducing more skill-based, vocational, and flexible learning pathways so students can learn according to their strengths and weaknesses. Secondly, I think the Parliament or the legislature can strengthen educational laws by supporting alternative education options. Instead of focusing on strict attendance rules, laws can be, flexible, like schooling online or vocational education. It is as a valid pathway to success. And lastly, I think that the Ministry of Finance can increase financial support for education by funding scholarships, subsidies, and school assisted programs. Sorry, I'm just very into this topic. But the government can also reduce financial barriers and ensure that all students have equal access to education, regardless of their background. What improvements have not already been made? Where do I even start? Okay, honestly, there are a few reasons, and one of the biggest reasons, in my opinion, is budget constraints. Our education reforms cost a lot of money, and governments usually have to balance education spending with other priorities like healthcare or infrastructure, so education changes don't always happen immediately. And another reason is also how slow the policy process can be. Education involves many different stakeholders like ministries, lawmakers, schools, teachers, so any change has to go through multiple stages of approval. That makes the whole process long and quite complex. And lastly, and that's definitely resistance to change. Traditional education systems have been around for a long time, and some policymakers are hesitant to move away from exam-focused models. They're often worried about uncertainty or public criticism if new approaches don't work as expected. So what are we waiting for? I think there should be some changes.